Hi, thank you for listening in on my podcast about transphobia in schools. So, introducing myself, I am Jesus. Hi, nice to meet you guys. I chose this topic because it was one of my areas of interest. So, I just want to say thank you for tuning into my podcast once again. Thank you so much, guys. So, jumping right in, I just want to kind of explain to you guys what's going on right now. So, I know that a lot of you guys may or may not be aware. But currently, transgender students are being attacked in schools. Not necessarily being attacked, I don't mean to scare you. However, they are being targeted and certain laws are being made against them, so they have restrictions that not all students have. Okay, so let's go on to the next segment. We do have a guest, so I don't want to ramble on too much. So, segment number one is understanding transphobia in school. In In school, many students are unaware of what being transgender means, which you cannot blame them because ignorance is bliss, and a lot of people choose to be ignorant, but it is our job to educate them. All right, well, let's go to defining transphobia in school and its impact on the students, because that's probably the most important part. So, I see that a lot of people, including myself, think that thriving and surviving as a trans person in school is acceptable, but it is not, because I'm here to highlight some of the important homophobia that goes on in school. Like how we educators and future educators can take steps to address concerns and conflicts that may arise from the implementation of gender neutral bathrooms. That's one of my questions that I had because it's something that I'm very passionate about, and it's something that every person should have the right to go to the bathroom wherever they choose and then have a bathroom for them as well. I have three questions, so let's move on to the second one. Is how will educators ensure that their classroom is not only a safe space for students but also a space where students can academically succeed? Because I feel like in a lot of places where you're worried about your safety, you cannot worry about succeeding as well because you're so focused on one thing that it limits your potential to be able to thrive at both of them, And I think that's not something that goes without showing that is an implementation that a lot of students go through today. And another one of my questions is why is having gender inclusive environments crucial for students to help celebrate the differences and respect pronouns in classes? Because a lot of people just want their pronouns to be respected and they don't necessarily mean to be harassing or inconveniencing anyone. They just want to feel safe at school. These are just some questions that I think schools need to include in their trans conversation when it comes to trans students, and also whether it's acceptable to be yourself in a space that may necessarily not feel safe for everyone. So I said that we had a guest, so everyone give a round of applause to Lenny. Lenny is a transgender man, and he is the person who I chose to interview for this because I felt like he had a lot of personal experience that was both beneficial to my podcast and also you guys as my listeners. So I just wanted to bring him on so he could explain a little bit about his personal experience and what he has gone through as a trans person, not also being trans himself, but also having trans sisters as well. So, not only being an advocate for the community, but also having multiple people in his life that are trans. So, I want to pass it on a little bit to him so he can talk about gender identity and gender dysphoria and all the things that come along with being trans. So, I will be introducing Lenny. Lenny is going to be speaking on a couple issues. Alrighty, passing the mic to Lenny. Here you go, Lenny.
Female students. Students should have access to restrooms that correspond to
sincerely held gender identity. When a transgender student's support includes access to a restroom that corresponds with their sincerely held gender identity, there may need to be accommodations made for other students. In this case, if any student, whether transgender or not, desires increased privacy or feels uncomfortable, the first step you can take to help students feel safe and welcome is to educate yourself. Figure out what you know and what you don't know. Then start reading about LGBTQIA plus issues in schools now. Schools that reflect the diverse population of the communities around them provide a great benefit to students both now and in the future. Recently, anti-LGBTQ plus activists and politicians have introduced and passed laws to ban transgender youth from participating in school sports, most frequently in K through 12 schools, but sometimes including in college. These laws mean that transgender girls, for example, would not be allowed to participate in sports with other girls. Local schools and state athletic associations already have policies that both protect transgender people and ensure a level playing field for all athletes. So those are just a couple of like popular like right now issues that are going on, which I just want to thank you guys for listening, and also just saying that like this is an important issue, and I hope that everything I said today you guys took with a grain of salt, and you guys will take and understand what you guys have and hopefully resonate with this. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Have a good day, guys.